On the 10th day of my silent war with Alexander, when I returned home with a terminal diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, I saw a college girl walking out of my bedroom. She was only 19 years old, as delicate as a spring flower, and exuding the vitality I once knew. She was his precious treasure, while I was just a shadow. He let her smash my Lucky Charms, kill my dog, and even desecrate my brother's grave, all to teach me a lesson in his cruel game. Eventually I asked for a divorce, but he suddenly became angry, bit my lip, and his eyes revealed obvious frustration. "How long are you going to keep this up?" But I never told him. I was dying. Alexander. I rushed home from the hospital, barely managing to call his name before tears streamed down my face. I was sick. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctor told me I had at most a month left to live. Just thinking about it made the tears flow uncontrollably. Alexander and I hadn't spoken in 10 days, but now I didn't want to fight anymore. I longed to hold him close. At 27 my life was already slipping away. I didn't want to waste my remaining time in a bitter cold war between us. I wanted to say goodbye properly to the man I love. When I arrived at our house, I couldn't find him, but I did see Chelsea emerging from our bedroom. She wore nothing but Alexander's oversized white shirt, her slender legs exposed, the neckline wide open, revealing flashes of her pale skin. It was both provocative and intimate. I froze. I couldn't believe that in just 10 days, Chelsea had moved in. What shocked me even more was how Alexander, who had always been so particular, allowed her into our bedroom, even letting her wear his clothes. He used to hold me in his arms, whispering that his clothes were meant only for me. He had sworn he'd love me for a lifetime, forever unchanging and faithful. But here I stood, still alive, and he had already welcomed someone else into our home, into our life. She wore his shirt and walked in his slippers, as if they shared an unbreakable bond while I stood outside, utterly irrelevant. The fight between us had started because of Chelsea. That night at the bar, I had seen her sitting on his lap, their lips dangerously close. He claimed it was just a game. Chelsea had lost a dare and didn't want to kiss anyone else, so he had to help her out. I couldn't understand. I was angry and hoped he'd comfort me, but instead, he accused me of being irrational. Disappointed, I stormed out and checked into a hotel thinking he'd come after me. But 10 days passed without a single call. This morning, I collapsed in excruciating pain while making breakfast. When I woke up, the doctor informed me I was pregnant and terminally ill. The cancer had spread, making surgery impossible. Lost in thought, I suddenly heard Chelsea's voice. "I'm not well. I had surgery to remove polyps from my gallbladder, and it's been so painful." Alex didn't want me to stay alone while recovering, so he insisted I move in so he could take care of me. "You don't mind, do you?" I couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity. Removing gallbladder polyps is a simple procedure. Painful maybe, but nothing compared to terminal cancer. No one was worried about my pain. For the first time, I seriously considered divorcing Alexander. "Please let me stay," Chelsea said, her sweet voice dripping with manipulation. My stomach churned as another wave of pain hit me. I glared at her and said coldly, "Get out of my house." As soon as I spoke, Alexander appeared from the master bedroom, a bathrobe wrapped around him, droplets of water still glistening in his hair. He had just showered. His disapproving gaze fell on me. "Chelsea helped me through a rough time. She's sick now and has no family in the city. There's plenty of space here. What's the harm in her staying for a few days?" "Madeline, when did you become so cold-hearted?" A sharp pain spread from my abdomen to my chest, making me double over. We'd been together for over a decade. Everyone knew how deeply he once loved me. I never imagined he would accuse me of being cold-hearted for the sake of another woman. Disappointment and agony swallowed me whole, making each breath feel tortuous. I didn't want to cry in front of someone who had betrayed me, but when I opened my mouth, my voice cracked, choked with emotion. "Hey, Alexander, I'm sick too." He paused for a moment, and for a fleeting second, I saw a flicker of concern in his dark eyes, but it vanished as quickly as it came. His perfect face turned indifferent, annoyed. "Do you always have to compete with Chelsea? Are you done being irrational, Madeline?" So that's what I was to him, irrational, even when I told him I was sick. I stared up at his beautiful, unrecognizable face, memories flooding back to the days after my brother passed. Alexander was 8 back then. He couldn't bear to see me sad, so he did everything to make me smile again. He carried me on his back, running through the spring breeze, holding me under the stars as he made promises. He said he would love me for 1,000 years, but he'd never let me be sad. If he broke his promise, he'd swallow 1,000 needles. But in the end, he did break it. The vows we made were still fresh in my mind, but the boy who kissed me in the spring wind was gone. "Madeline, don't misunderstand. There's nothing going on between me and Alexander," Chelsea said, her eyes red, tears perfectly placed on her face. "The shower in my room is broken. That's why I used your bathroom. I'll take my things and go back to the guest room. Don't worry, I won't get in the way." She turned to leave, and that's when I saw it. The lacy lingerie scattered across the bed I shared with Alexander. It wasn't mine. I'd always been conservative in my clothing choices, but this lingerie was bold, seductive, entirely Chelsea's style. Even if she only came in a shower, there was no reason to to leave her undergarments lying on my bed. It was clear she hadn't just used the bathroom. There was no way Alexander didn't understand her intentions, but he chose to let her get away with it. He even seemed to enjoy it. Crash! The sharp sound of something breaking pulled me from my thoughts. My eyes snapped to the ground where my necklace lay shattered. A flash of malice crossed Chelsea's face before her innocent expression returned. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't notice it was on the floor and accidentally stepped on it. I really didn't mean it." I stared at the broken necklace, tears welling up uncontrollably. It had been a gift from my brother. When I was 17, I survived a near-fatal car accident that turned my world upside down. My brother, determined to help me heal, had heard about a powerful amulet from a local legend. Without hesitation, he trekked up the steep hill to the old chapel, kneeling to pray at each step. When he returned, he brought me a necklace, a symbol of his unwavering belief that it would protect me on my journey to recovery. Coincidence or divine intervention? The day after he gave it to me, I woke up from my coma. Now, standing on the brink of death, that necklace lay shattered. My brother died a month after giving it to me. He was a firefighter who sacrificed himself to save a little girl. That girl was Chelsea.